Visiting the home of the Dirt Motorsports Hall of Fame last week, we moved to the Sprint Car Hall of Fame this week in Knoxville, Iowa. Welcome to the Dirt Championship eSports Pro Late Model Series, round number 6. Tony Trapasso up in the booth with you, joined with me by my partner in crime in the production truck, the man from the Great White North himself, Mr. Kevin Cunha. And Kevin, your first trip to Knoxville, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. But looking forward to it. Tell me a little bit about this track.
Well, you're talking a half mile, very wide, very fast. And this track is set up for those that want a little Armco with their racing. Being from Watkins Glen, I can make that joke. But one of the hallowed grounds of all dirt racing happens here at Knoxville. Most famous race of the year, of course, the Knoxville Open, in which it's not uncommon to see north of 200 410 sprint cars, winged sprint cars, show up to the event. And this is where they actually coined the phrase alphabet soup for the number of drivers that have to show up for this thing. It's not uncommon to see an M main, M as in Michael, and they transfer the winner into the next higher up. Most notable person running alphabet soup was Danny Lasowski one year. Qualified in the, I believe it was G as in George main, and was one spot from transferring into the A by the time everything was all said and done. So, very competitive track, very fast track. I'm looking at the times in the hot lap session, and usual suspects up at the front of the field. One thing to make note of, ladies and gentlemen, one car does not have the proper transponder in it, and of course that is the number 1 of Phil Locke. Has the transponder for the 3 in that piece tonight, so something to be mindful of. Everybody else seems to have the proper transponders with them, so that's some good news there. 16 cars here tonight so far, so still a little bit early, still a couple minutes here left. One thing I do want to make note of while we are waiting for the hot lap session to wind on down, don't forget to visit our Teespring store and get your ESBN merch. You can find the link in the video description below. And some of you may or may not have noticed already, but we are simulcasting this particular series for the first time on both our Facebook and YouTube streams. So give us a shout out, let us know which stream you're watching it in. It will be archived both on our Facebook page, our YouTube page, and the new web page, esbnofficial.com. You can find that link in the video description below, as well as the link to our Twitter page, our Facebook page, and our YouTube page.
And, of course, the obligatory, shout out to the like button and subscribe little bell.
Absolutely. Like, favorite, subscribe, share, turn on bell notifications so you don't miss a single broadcast here on ESBN. Quick rundown of what we got coming on for the rest of the week. After this race, actually, we're probably going to be starting the A main when they're going to be starting their broadcast. Sam and Frank are taking the Kicking Asphalt Cup Series, sponsored by MPI. I believe they're at Texas tonight. Don't quote me on that direct track, but they will be broadcasting tonight. So 2 broadcasts going on tonight. Tuesday night, you and I are going to Atlanta with the Trucks Series, as Sam and Frank, I believe, are going to Kansas with the Western States Series. Wednesday night, the Sim Racers Edge crew will be going to the Land of the Rising Sun and Motegi Twin Ring oval track And then Thursday, you and I are going back to Irwindale Speedway in sunny Southern California for the 7th round, I believe. I believe it's the 7th round of the Stars Figure 8 Tour. And then Friday night, we have the iRacing E-Series with Sam and Frank bringing you that one. So a whole week of racing on tap. As qualifying getting ready to kick off here, is waiting to see who's going to be the first taker to bring it out on track. We are doing 8-lap heat races tonight, as looks like Dan LaValle is going to be the first one to fire it off in anger in the A1. Now that is another car that does have a slightly different transponder in it. That has the 11 transponder in the A1 of LaValle tonight. As he comes out of turn number 2 on his first lap under anger into 3 and 4. He's joined with Keegan Ewald out on track. As John Coombs in the 87 firing the first shot, going 18.743, immediately bumped off the top rung by the 25 of Ewald, the 18.57 flat. So, you know, this is one of the two holy grail tracks in dirt racing, ladies and gentlemen. There's Knoxville and Eldora. Those are normally the two racetracks that, even if they're not a dirt racing fan, you mention Knoxville, they kind of know what you're talking about. You mention Eldora, they kind of know what you're talking about. So everybody wants to win here tonight, as it looks like they are rapid firing these ones off.
Yep, we've got
so
eyes on
far.
Michael Like. He's
As Philip Locke jumps up to third quick in the 3.
Yep, now we're on Philip.
New paint scheme for him tonight. I'm kind of liking the metallic green that's in that paint scheme with the semi-gloss black.
Yep, but we'll notice that it does have the 1 on it, and it's
yep,
got the 3.
Got the 3 transponder. As I believe that's everybody who is going to take time.
Yeah, that was quite rapid fire. It was hard to keep up with everybody going out.
Absolutely. Well, they only gave them 3 minutes to fire this one off. You know, normally we get between 5 and 10 minutes of qualifying. They gave them 3 this time. So get it done, and absolutely. Quick look at the weather conditions. 70-degree ambient air temperature, 72-degree track temperatures. We're mid-afternoon right now. 3-mile-an-hour winds that they're facing straight down the backstretch. So headwind down the back straightaway, and heavy water grain in the air. So these carburetors are going to be making gobs of horsepower as we are gridding up for heat race number 1. Of course, setting quick time is the 25 of Keegan Ewald. He's joined up on the front with one of the usual suspects. Your points leader, John Coombs in the 87. Row 2 is going to see Joseph LaValle and Keith Pate. Tim Prelog and Rob Schaefer make up row number 3, with row 4 going to Jason Shook, who's making his return in the Triple Deuce, and Doug Sigmund in the Skull Bandit 04. 8 laps of scheduled distance here tonight. Go ahead.
Do you see Jason Shook on track, by the way?
Jason Shook
because he's
has
not
left
appearing.
the building.
All right.
He has left the building, as has Dan LaValle, who we are supposed to be seeing in the next heat race. So hopefully he makes it back in time. The good news is all 16 drivers will transfer into the A main. So that's a plus in itself. So we have 7 of them firing it off here tonight. Ewald in the 25 winning the Quick Time Award, starting up on the point. and he's going to be joined with John Coombs, who is your points leader coming into this event tonight. After tonight, there's only going to be 2 races left, a quarter-mile bull ring and Eldora. And I believe it's, don't quote me on that, so I'm not even going to say what next week is without looking off the top of my head. Pace Truck is in for Pace Truck getting ready to make that hard left turn. There it goes, and here we go for heat race number 1. Got to wait till the green flag comes out before you fire it off, and green is in the air, and we are underway for heat race number 1. Ewald pulls the trigger, Coombs goes with him, and track looks to be about a 50% state right now, so decent cushion starting to form up. Now, that's going to be pushing further and further up towards the wall. Now, you notice that a couple of those cars just launched the front end in the air and slid up the track. There is a berm that separates the inner from the outer, and that is your access road to the infield pit area. If you catch that, it's not gonna be good for anyone that's behind you. Battle's starting to heat up now between Rod Schaefer and Keith Pate as Schaefer gets it sorted out in the, I'm sorry, that's Joseph Valley in the 78, slipping back. And we saw Schaefer take it to victory lane a couple weeks ago, as these guys are single file right now. Everybody minding their P's and Q's as we are 3 laps in the books, getting ready to end lap 4, this time across the stripe. Ewald, Coombs, Schaefer, LaValle, Pate, Prelog, and Sigmund. As Shook did not take the green. So yeah, absolutely. Now, these guys do run open sets, which is not something that you see in a lot of series. And there's so many different things you can adjust on these cars. It's very easy to adjust yourself right out of the park. As Ewald and Coombs just on another level, full 2.5 to the good right now, is Coombs over Rob Schaefer, who sits in 3rd. LaValle right there, as you see LaValle put 2 tires up on that inner berm, the left front tire up on that inner berm. Now, that's something to be mindful of. You're going to have to keep an eye on that throughout the rest of the night, because you do that in traffic and get it wrong, you're getting shot up the racetrack, and hopefully there's not anybody next to you when it happens, as that is the checkered flag. Ewald coming home with the victory. Coombs hanging on for 2nd, Rob Schaefer in 3rd, Joe LaValle in 4th, Keith Pate 5th, Tim Prelog and Doug Sigmund rounding out your field. Jason Shook did not take the green. Heat race number 2, gridding up right now. Phil Locke in the 1 is going to start next to Mitch Stiles in the 54. Some of the usual suspects sitting at the front of the field tonight. Going to be interesting to see how they hang on, because they have not had the best of luck with those front starting spots in the past. Dan LaValle is back in the sim, so he is going to be rolling off in row number 2 with Bob Klein in the 7. The 007 of Matty Queen is going to be joined with Michael Leik in the 88 in row number 3, with row 4 going to Rich Metzdorf and Chief Cook and Bottle Washer of the Dirt Championship eSports Pro Late Model Division. That is the 9 of Adam Maddox. Just waiting on Maddox to grid up. And looks like as we've seen him in the past. Now Dan LaValle in the A1 has the 11 transponder, so need to discuss about pre-tech drinking with the officials again. Yeah. Well, we'll get it figured out sooner or later. Hopefully sooner. Welcome to dirt racing and iRacing, ladies and gentlemen. As the field worked its way down the back straightaway here, you noticed in turn 2, that is the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame sitting there on the outside of turn 2. And yes, somebody has put a race car in there under a crash. Pace truck is in and waiting for it. Locke sees the green flag, pulls the trigger, and we are underway for heat race number 2. Oh, hang on to her. Mitch Stiles getting bicycling coming off of turn number 2. As right now, Bob Klein and Dan LaValle throwing hand grenades at each other. That's the 7 of Klein. New paint scheme for him tonight. We normally see him in a mostly black ride, now running the white, black, and green. So good to see some brighter colors on that one. As Stiles throws it to the inside, drag race down the back straightaway. Locke got it all wrong coming through too. And he is way off the pace. A lot of damage on that car. As he struggles to try to get that into the infield. Going to try to get it fixed for the feature, but right now Mitch Stiles in command, over a second to the good. Dan LaValle sits in second. Bob Klein up into third. Maddie Queen working the backside of Klein right now as we are halfway gone. Stiles, LaValle, Klein, Queen, Like, Metzdorf, and Locke. Unfortunately, big trouble for the number 1 tonight. But Mitch Stiles in the 54 has just set sail. And I'm being told jumping the start. So that's what happened with the 1. That just coming into my desk now as white flag going to be in the air this time across. Mitch Stiles almost 2 seconds to the good right now. About 10 car lengths separate him and Dan LaValle, who's got a 5 car length lead over this battle for third between Klein and Maddie Queen. Drag race down the back straightaway. Queen's going to have one final shot at him. Stiles crosses the line to take the heat race win. LaValle for second as Klein hanging on for third, Queen in fourth. Michael Like in fifth. Rich Metzdorf coming home in sixth. Philip Locke in seventh. So Locke getting pinged after...
That's unfortunate.
Yeah, it very. Got pinged for jumping the start. And it was close, and the officials said that they looked at it, and they looked at it from about 7 different angles, so you could see when the green actually did come out, and he was about half a car length too soon. So... unfortunately for him, he is now going to have to climb his way from the tail end of the field. So, do have to give a big shout out to Adam Maddox for sitting out the event so that he can be live race control. Not something that he was hoping to do, but all things considered, you know, you got to do what you got to do, and thank you, Adam Maddox, for doing so. As we know that you're a racer at heart, but you know, doing what you've got to do to make sure this league runs smoothly.
Absolutely.
So, you know, I'm looking at the starting grid for the final, and you've got your top 5 in points starting in your top 5 starting positions. Actually, your top 6 are starting in your top 6 starting positions. So, as the field works its way around, if we can get a good shot at turn 2, you'll see that massive building.
Yep, we're pointing right at it right now. It's right across from the grandstand.
That is the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum. 3 stories of some of the just most beautiful race cars to ever have turned a wheel on a dirt track.
There, we can
And
see
some
it.
on pavement as well. You've got the car that Dave Steele won part of the USAC Triple Crown in. You've got the car that basically landed Tony Stewart his first IndyCar ride. You've got the midget car that got Jeff Gordon his NASCAR Cup ride. So just some of the most hallowed cars in all of short track racing in that facility. So, and again, don't forget to check us out on our Twitter page, our Facebook page, our YouTube page, and the new ESPNofficial.com web page. All those links in the video description below. And don't forget to check out our Teespring store. You can get all your merch. And on our webpage, I believe we're going 2 weeks out now as far as what you can see coming up as far as broadcasts that we're going to be doing here on ESPN. Also, don't forget to like, favorite, subscribe, share, turn on bell notifications so you don't miss a single broadcast, as the hot lap session getting ready to wind on down now. And Kevin, you can really start to see that cushion inching ever closer to that outside Armco barrier.
Oh yeah.
And there's been quite a few races that I've watched here in the real world where you're running the rear bumper on that wall. So, we're going to see guys making moves that you're wondering on, what are you doing? As you can see a little bit of dry slick happening right around the middle of the corner right now. So, and especially on corner entry, you can see that little patch as they go into turn 3. There's a real shiny patch, and there's one going into 1 too. You got to be real mindful of that, because if you get into that, the car's not going to turn, and if it does turn, you're going around. So that is going to do it for the warm-up hot lap session. Waiting for drivers to start gridding up right now, as Keegan Ewalt setting quick time tonight. Didn't really have any issues in the heat race. He's going to be joined up on the front row with the 54 of Mitch Stiles. Now, Stiles hasn't had the last couple of weeks that he's hoping to turn it around here at Knoxville. Last week's winner, John Coombs, he's going to be joined with the 11 of Dan LaValle. Actually, the A1 of Dan LaValle. Row 3 is going to see Rob Schaefer and Bob Klein. The 78 of Joe LaValle and the 007 of Matty Queen going to roll off in row number 4. Row 5 is going to see the 96 of Keith Pate. He's going to be joined with the 88 of Michael Like. Tim Prelog 66 and Richard Metzdorf 11 are going to roll off in row number 6. Row 7 is going to see Doug Sigmund and the 1 of Philip Locke. Now, mind you, Locke did have to go to the tail end of the field because of jumping the start. And we still do not have Jason Shook So 14 cars rolling off here tonight.
I have to apologize. I don't think the grid graphic is working quite correctly.
It's because of the last iRacing update. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. But
on the left-hand side of the screen, you see the grid as Tony just called it out.
Now, as the lights do go out on the Chevy Silverado Pace Truck, the official pace truck of iRacing, go ahead and drop a comment below in the live chats. Let us know who you're pulling for tonight, ladies and gentlemen. There are a lot of variables to take into consideration, and one of which being that inside berm going through the corners that we mentioned. Now, we saw a couple of guys already tag that during the heat race. There were a lot less cars on track. As the field works its way through the 3-4 complex, you're going to adjust the visor, pull the 5-point safety harness tight one more time, and Knoxville, Iowa, it's showtime! As they work their way out of turn number 4, green flag in the air, everybody pulls the trigger, we are underway. Keegan Ewalt with command of the field as Mitch Stiles and John Coombs side by side hauling it down the back straightaway into turn number 1. And there comes the 097 of Rob Schaefer. He's trying to make it happen on that inside line too. So I'm thinking Stiles may have missed on the setup a little bit as he's already dropped 2 spots. Lap 1. Keegan Ewalt, though, continues to show the way. As now Coombs under pressure a little bit from the 097 of Schaefer, as Stiles riding that inside wall, trying to get that car to turn. I think he tightened the car up a little too much, thinking the track was going to go dry slick, and it's not as dry and as slick as he was hoping. As Coombs working that outside lane, Ewalt on the inside, and here comes Schaefer in the 097. Schaefer pulls alongside of Coombs, side by side, puts a tire up on that inside berm, and your top 5 have just checked flat out right now. Ewalt, Schaefer, Coombs, Stiles, and LaValle holding down the 5th spot. As here comes the 097 as Schaefer to the inside of Coombs and gets the clear coming off of 4. We've got a new 2nd place. Now he sets his sights on trying to reel in Keegan Ewalt in the 25. Here comes the 57 of Stiles to the inside of Coombs too. Coombs might have missed on the setup as well, but not as bad as some of the other guys have. Now this track does tend to go dry slick later in the evening, but we haven't had the number of people running it that we were probably expecting. So these guys were expecting to go a lot more dry, a lot more slick. And everybody's running a tick on the tight side right now. Stiles gets to the inside of Coombs, and just like that, Stiles onto the podium. Meanwhile, back in the pack, the A1 of Dan LaValle holding down the number 6 spot as the battle is hot and heavy for the number 7 spot between the 007 of Matty Queen and the 7 of Bob Klein.
Mitch Stiles just having got the fastest lap while he moved up into P2, so he's on the move.
So Stiles on the move as he's got a 7 car length gap to try to make up between he and Keegan Ewalt. Just clipped off 3 car lengths there. So Stiles has gotten around Schaefer. As
Matthew Queen is making moves as well, back in the pack. Sorry to cut you off, Tony.
And just like that, he just lost 2 spots to Bob Klein and Phil Locke as, hang on to her. Locke almost getting it all wrong, coming through 1, hit that slick stuff and just went up the racetrack. Klein flirting with disaster on that inside, though. As Ewald, Styles, Schaefer, Coombs, LaValle, Klein, Locke, Keene, and Tate holding down the number 10 spot. That is your current running order in the top 10. And Business is picking up for the lead as Styles within a car length and a half of Ewald right now. Throws it to the inside, going through 3, gets into the slick stuff, tries to get the power down, searching for grip anywhere he can. Drag race to the stripe. Give that lap to Ewald like 95 thousandths of a second. And here comes Styles to the inside again. And you can see that inside line, he bangs up into the cushion. He's got to be careful. He's about to lose a spot as Schaefer's right there within striking distance. So this is going to get fun as they come up on the lap car. That's Doug Sigmund in the Skull Bandit 04.
He smartly kept to the inside.
He got right out of the way. Didn't want to have anything to do with that one. As we are 15 in the books. Ewald shows the way. Styles right there within striking distance. Schaefer right there within striking distance. Styles throws it onto the inside berm and has to be real careful. Schaefer followed him in and almost got into the back of him. Schaefer to the inside now. That's your battle for second.
On board
Styles
with Schaefer.
Schaefer side by side with Styles as they haul it off into turn number 1 as he gets, Ewald's into the wall. And just like that, we've got a new leader. That's Rob Schaefer in the 097.
Oh, and Ewald gets tapped by Styles as he goes by.
He was way off the pace, and I don't think he was thinking Styles was going to be there. They went 3 wide into turn number 1, and something had to give as Ewald now with a very wounded race car. Schaefer shows the way.
Now in third.
Schaefer shows the way. Styles sits in second. Coombs up into third. Ewald falling back and drastically. He had to have knocked the rear end out of that car. Because here comes Joe LaValle in the 78 now as well into the picture. Meanwhile, your battle for second, hot and heavy as Coombs just throws it to the inside. Slide job coming off of 4. Styles has to take evasive action, and he gets hit in the backside by Ewald. And you got to do what you got to do as we are halfway home. Schaefer shows the way. Coombs sits in second after an amazing slide job coming off of 4. And here comes Ewald to the inside of Styles. Thinking Ewald just had to adjust his driving style. He's got a little bit of speed left in that number 25. As the battle for the final podium spot, as Styles flirting with disaster going into turn number 1. He hit that slick stuff, went up the track, had to fight it. Just barely able to hang on. Schaefer, though, is starting to check out. 6 car lengths is the gap between Schaefer and Coombs. That's first and second. Then you're another 5.5, almost 6 car lengths back to the battle for third between Mitch Styles and Keegan Ewald. Those guys all over each other right now. That is your closest battle on track. It's Ewald in the 25, Styles in the 54. And Ewald hits the wall again coming off of 2. And I believe, yes he is, John Coombs is starting to reel in Rob Schaefer. So the track's starting to dry out a little bit. You can see that shiny stuff starting to form more and more and more in the middle of the corners. And what was a 6 car length gap is now down to a car length and a half as John Coombs trying to make it happen on the high side. Schaefer runs the low side. Coombs with the nose out front, using the cushion to his advantage, getting ahead of steam coming off of turn number 4, drag race to the line. Give it to Coombs. We've got another new leader. Styles, Ewalt LaValle, Joe LaValle, mind you. Then Dan LaValle in sixth, Philip Locke in seventh, Bob Klein, Matt Queen, and Keith Pate rounding out your top 10. As your leader's starting to reel in some lap traffic again, that is the 88 of Michael Light, currently sitting in 13th, not having the run he was hoping for tonight at Knoxville. As Coombs flirting with disaster every lap, running that cushion like it owed him money. And you can see that thing is getting dangerously close, especially on corner entry. Closer and closer it inches to the outside retaining wall. As we are 10 laps to go. Sorry, 11 laps to go. Styles and Ewalt all over the back of each other still. And actually, I take that back. Styles and Schaefer all over each other. As Schaefer bangs the wall coming off a 2, that's going to let Styles get to his inside as they've got lap traffic hot and heavy all around them. And Mitch Styles has got to be gritting his teeth right now. That's Michael Like that he's trying to work his way past. Like finally gets out of the way, and he gets a clear shot. Schaefer back to third. As they've got another lap car, that's going to be the 66 of Timmy Freelog coming up. Freelog running the high side, Styles on the low side. No problems there. As I got to give these guys credit, this one rolling by pretty quick. John Coombs continues to show the way. A second and a half to the go. Schaefer's going to have 6 more shots at Styles as they work their way off at turn number 4. And Prelog's into the wall. Don't think he realized where Styles was. Didn't hold on 54 much. Meanwhile, your leader, John Coombs, dealing with the lap traffic. That is the 11A of Rich Metzdorf being scored as the 12. Metzdorf finally gets out of the way. And here comes Keegan Ewalt trying to get back on the podium as he is using the cushion to his advantage as much as he can, able to keep it wound up on the high side as he works his way around the 097 of Rob Schaefer, and Prelog has put it on the hauler. And that is your battle for third. That's Ewalt in 25 and the 097 of Rob Schaefer, as we are 3 to go currently. Coombs is flat checked out. Styles is within striking distance. He's just got to keep it clean. Popsicle sticks in the air. 2 more laps to go. John Coombs just in command of this one. Keegan still working that cushion. Rob Schaefer in the 097 is going to try to get one more shot at him as he is fading and fading quickly. That bottom has the bottom has dropped out for Schaefer. Completely gone, completely whooped as Ewalt tries to reel in Styles. Final lap, checkered flag in the air. John Coombs can see the checkers, and there's your winner. John Coombs in the 87. Mitch Styles hanging on for second. Keegan Ewalt, after banging the wall earlier, rebounding for third. So, I got to tell you,
unbelievable.
That very impressed with what I saw tonight.
That was incredible. I don't know if it's the track, which I'm suddenly in love with as a dirt track, but or it was the drivers tonight being on their game. I guess it might be more comfort with the track as well. But wow, there's a nice donut.
Thank you.
As we're joined now with the man that can say he won at Knoxville, points leader, Jonathan Coombs. John, I don't think you put a wheel wrong all night.
No, it was a good run. I was fun race. I was happy there was no cautions. I was really looking forward to this track pretty much all season. This is probably my favorite track to run on here, and got the result I was really hoping for.
Well, this is one of those hallowed grounds of dirt racing. But talk us through the early running. We noticed that there was a couple of guys around you that were able to put a couple of tires up on that inside rub or the inside berm. How much are you flirting with disaster when you do that?
A lot. That's why I kind of don't really set my cars up to run the bottom. I've tried to run down there and I hit that berm and it just kills me. So I'm just like, you know what? I knew early on the bottom was going to be better, so I just let those guys go and just kind of bided my time. I knew once that bottom went away that I was going to be able to make a run on those guys. And whatever it was, halfway through, once they started moving up, I knew that it was time to go. So I just kind of watched my fuel a little bit there. And then once I knew I was good on fuel, because I was worried about if we were going to get cautions or not, so I went a little heavy. I was glad there was no cautions. That was beautiful. But we were good to go, and I knew I was good on fuel, so it was just hammer down around the top.
Now, we did see you throw a hell of a slide job on Mitch Stiles early on. How slick was the center of the track, and did you know it was going to stick when you got to the cushion?
It was pretty bad in the middle. I was kind of worried. I had a good enough run, and it's once someone's up in your line up top, it is very hard to pass, and you really do got to throw a slider in there. And I missed it just a little bit, kind of my entry point. I kind of parked it in front of him a little bit there, a little more than I intended to. And I'm glad he didn't run me over. He had every right to if he wanted to. I wouldn't even been mad. So thank you to him for not chunking me, because that wasn't the best slider I could have thrown. It was the first one I threw all night, so I kind of missed my mark there. And yeah, I wasn't sure if it was going to stick or not. I was ready to go all the way up to the top. I had my foot ready to get on the brakes just in case I needed to, but she stuck. And once I got her on him, Robert wasn't too much of a fight. He was definitely more set up for the bottom. It looked like he wasn't much up top, so he gave me plenty of space when I got up to him, and he raced me really clean, and I thank him for that. And I think I'm now tied with him for wins on the season. I think we both got 2. So, but yeah, it was a good race all around for everybody.
Well, now we go from one of the biggest tracks on the schedule to one of the smallest tracks on the schedule, actually the smallest track on the schedule next week as the series moves to Fairbury. Your thoughts going to that little tiny quarter-mile bull ring?
I love that track. That track's fun. It's good on the top, the middle, the bottom, so you can really set your car up to run different lines there. If everyone raced and acts the way they did today, we could have a hell of a show there at Fairbury, but short tracks tend to just cause problems for people, so we'll see how it goes. I hope it's not another caution field race. It's wide enough. I think we can give each other some space and have a really good run there, and it's a track I do enjoy. I've actually never been there in person. I really wanted to go this year, but with all the COVID junk going around, I didn't really want to waste my time going, but it's definitely a bucket list track I'd like to see in real life, and I'm glad that iRacing put it on here so we can run it.
Absolutely. It'd be like jet fighters in a gymnasium. But, John, before we let you go, is there anybody you want to thank?
Yeah, I jumped on a new team, Team Reliable. Small team on the last guy he picked. It's Tanner Tomasi, Travis Storjahan, and now me, and team owner Jeff. So I'm happy to be a part of that team and ready for the Pro Series qualifiers. We're going to make a pretty good run at that S3 with Jeff behind us helping, and Vortex wraps for this new beautiful wrap that Gavin made for me.
All right. Well, John, looking forward to seeing you next week at Fairbury, and hopefully you can maintain that points lead.
Yes, sir. Thanks for talking.
John Coombs, your winner tonight. As we move now to the man who he did thank for not running him flat over during that slide job at about the halfway mark, the number 54 of Mitch Stiles. Mitch, not the finish you were hoping for, but all things considered, you can't be too disappointed with a podium here at Knoxville.
Yeah, I mean, we had that one. I feel like I kind of let that one get away. I over tightened the car a little bit too much. I thought it was going to dry slick a little faster than what it did. With us having 16 cars, I mean, it didn't really work out. So I kind of had to run the bottom a lot more than I would have liked to. I knew as soon as the bottom started to go away, we started to have to push up the track. I could see John and my relative that he was coming. So I knew he was coming.
Now, you mentioned that you tightened the car up a little too much. Was that the reason why you were really flirting with that inside berm more than most other drivers were early on in the event to try to get the car to rotate?
Yeah, I almost had to completely park it on the berm to get it to rotate.
Well, I mean, all things considered, you can't be too disappointed coming home with a podium finish. Especially after the disappointment that you had last week at Weedsport. Um, your thoughts as the series moves forward, though, from one of the biggest tracks on the schedule to the smallest track on the schedule as we move to Fairbury next week.
And bull, my thing. I love bull rings. They're my favorite tracks.
Well, are you expecting the beating and banging that bull rings normally, that type of racing that they normally bring out?
Honestly, with this group of guys, is a pretty good group of guys, so I wouldn't expect too much. I'd expect a little bit, but not too much. I mean, for the most part, everyone in here runs clean when they're on their game. We've had a couple of races where things kind of went bad, but other than that, for the most part, it's a pretty good group of clean guys to run with. So for the most part, I think it'll be pretty clean.
All right, fair enough. Well, Mitch, anybody you want to thank before we let you go tonight?
Thank you guys for doing the broadcast, and as always, my old lady for letting me race.
Absolutely. So, Mitch, we'll see you next week at Fairbury, and congratulations on the podium tonight.
Thank you guys.
So, we go from second place to third place, and the man who set quick time tonight and tried to knock down the turn 2 retaining wall early on in the event was able to rebound for third. Of course, we are talking about the driver of the number 25, Mr. Keegan Ewalt. Keegan, with it taking into account everything that did take place tonight, hell of a driving job, sir, to salvage a third place out of it.
Thank you. I just messed up in 3 and 4 and wish I wouldn't have done it, but it's what happens at berm on Knoxville. It's crazy, and it will eat you alive if you get it.
Yeah, and we saw you pretty much just shoot right up the track, and I'm guessing you were just along for the ride after that.
Yeah, I tried to get into it, and I was in the slick, and I just kept sliding up, and I was like, oh, I'm going to smack this wall. Hopefully it doesn't do really bad damage.
Well, how bad was the damage, do you think? Did it tighten the car up? Did it loosen the car up? What was the outcome of that?
Actually, I think it helped me because when I got to the cushion on the top, I was so tight, I was able to keep it just pinned against that cushion and just ride it all the way around the track, and that's how I was able to catch third and get third.
All right. Well, Keegan can't be too disappointed after setting quick time tonight in qualifying. But as we move from the biggest track on the schedule to the smallest track on the schedule, and Fairbury next week, your thoughts going to the bull ring?
I pretty much just run that high side. That high side's fast over there. I really can't run the bottom there. I'm not really good at that track, but I think it'll be fun. I really like running with these guys that we run with. It's really fun here. And hopefully we can make something happen next week, and hopefully it doesn't do something like it did this week and kind of ruin the chance of winning something.
Well, Keegan, again, congratulations on the podium. Anybody you want to thank before we let you go?
Pretty much my old lady for letting me get on tonight and spend some time on here and race with these guys. It's been fun, but yeah, that's about it.
All right. Well, Keegan, looking forward to seeing you next week at Fairbury, and congratulations on the podium tonight.
Thank you.
So that was our Quick Time Award winner and third place finisher, Keegan Ewalt. Quick rundown of the finishing order. John Coombs, your points leader coming into tonight, leading with the points lead after winning here. Mitch Stiles hanging on for second. Keegan Ewalt, after smacking the wall pretty decently, you heard him say he's able to rebound for third. Rob Schaefer, not the night he was hoping for, finishing just off the podium in fourth. Joe LaValle in the 78 in fifth. Phil Block in 6th. Bob Klein coming home in 7th. 8th place going to Keith Pate. Rich Mesdorf coming home in 9th. Michael Like rounding out your top 10. Matty Queen not having the finish he needed, coming home in 11th. Dan LaValle in 12th. 13th going to Tim Prelog. And 14th going to Doug Sigmund. Jason Shook put it on the hauler after qualifying, so he called it a night early. He was way off the pace. And Adam Maddox, again, thank you for being live race control tonight. I believe that helped a ton. So that is going to do it for us tonight, as Knoxville in the books. 2 races left in the point standings as we move forward. So the question is, has anybody got anything for John Combs? That has yet to be determined. Next week is the wild card race, and the very, very tight confines of Fairbury. That is going to do it for us. For Mr. Kevin Cunyu in the production truck, this is Tony Trapasso saying, remember, folks, as you walk down the road of life, don't play in traffic.